Gerard, first things first,
Yes.
Great Magistrates Court going. Not happy?
No, no. I mean, I was hopeful that the Conservative Liberal government would have just kept Greys as it was. Having taken away Greys, it sends all the wrong signals. Where we are now is that people are going to have to travel to Basildon, and I can't help feel that the police, in the longer term, will be used as a taxi service for people who don't turn up to courts. I think it's a retrograde step.
So people who simply will just get arrested on warrant?
Yes,
and that'll cost the taxpayer?
Yes, it'll cost the taxpayer. I mean, one of the things we have to look at is, you know, Thurrock is an expanding area. In 10 years we'll have a population of 300,000. We need our own court. And it really disturbs me. We have a government, Conservative-led government, who allegedly believe in law and order, taken away our court, and now going soft on sentencing, as we've seen.
Your portfolio, public protection.
Yes.
Some people don't quite understand what that means. What does that mean?
Just as the title, really, to protect the public. We haven't got our own police force, not in charge of that just yet, but what we have got, we've got a strong partnership with Thurrock Police. But what's upset me in the last 6 months is because of the government's cutbacks in taking the deficit out in 5 years rather than 8 years. One of the first steps we've had to do, we've had to withdraw the funding for the PCSOs. I've recently spoke to Superintendent Ivor, and he doesn't know how great the reduction will be on the rest of the PCSOs. I think that's a retrograde step. And
again, the role of you're not the chief, as you said, you're not the chief
I'm not
constable
the
of
chief
Thurrock.
constable. No.
So what influence can you have?
Well, we have a strong partnership, and certainly I have regular monthly meetings. And one of the things I always stress to the commander is that what we must have, when people report crimes, we must have the follow-up so that people understand what the police are doing. It's that picking up the phone and communicating. It's like when people come to me with problems, you know, it's so nice to hear a voice on the end of the phone. And I know the police are under stress because of the cutbacks of this Conservative government. But of course, we've still got to say to them, look, these are the priorities we want. We want you to look at Cllr and Chadwell and West Thurrock and South Ockington. And it's that presence. They've got a very difficult job, and I don't envy their task.
Does it? What seems to me, having interviewed Paul Moore on several occasions,
Yes.
and looked at things like unsolved crimes,
Yes.
but what seems to be the problem is police burdened by recording mechanisms and chasing statistics.
Yes.
Is that ever going to change?
Well, I would hope that you know, the new Home Secretary would start to look at those. But I can always remember being the chairman of the police committee years ago and talking to the chief constable, and he said, you know, even in my day, the police always used to moan about paperwork and chasing statistics. So nothing has changed. But I think what we have to do is make sure the police are adequately resourced so they can protect the front line. That's vital.
And you've been, the Rice family, been in the borough a long time.
Yes.
Do you feel it is a safer place?
I think Thurrock is a safe place. I mean, you know, we have to get things into realism. When we compare Thurrock to the East End of London, dare one say it, places like Hackney and parts of Stratford, Thurrock is safe. People can walk out at night without the fear of crime being committed against them, and they can go about their normal business. I think what we have to do, we have to start to play down this crime fear And this is where the community can act as the eyes for the police and get involved through the neighbourhood watch schemes. But they're vital as well, because many crimes are solved through that intervention.
That seems to be one of the problems for the police, is that they're not getting, you know, by their own admission, they're just not getting the people ringing them up. And likewise, by their own admission, the days of the cop meeting people in the pub, the detective, that all seems to have gone as well. There's a certain, do you think there's a certain breakdown in the police relationship with the public, so to speak?
Well, I look at it this way. The police, you know, when the Labour government were in with 13 years, and the police were very well resourced. The first thing that's happened in 6 months of a coalition government is they've said to the police, you've got to make a 25% cut. Well, that's going to have a knock-on effect. Obviously, the Chief Constable will want to remain his frontline position, so to tackle the crime problem, we don't want to send out mixed messages to people. So I'm very confident with Essex Police, their plans. Yes, perhaps they have to tidy things up and get deeper into the community. Thurrock's well placed with our community forums, and I know that going to the community forums, there is a good relationship between the police and the local people, and that's what we have to develop.